Hey guys, so I'm Toby and I'm going to be taking you through this build out of an athlete wellness sheet. We're going to look at various different factors that you may want to include, how to visualize them and how to report that data to your athletes, maybe their parents if you've got youth athletes, and any coaches or medical staff. We're going to go right from the start using Google Forms to Google Sheets to how we report it, and I'll cover various basics of why I prefer Google over Excel, and hopefully teach you the functions as opposed to just a copy and paste job. If you click on the link below, you can get the finished file, and that way you'll be able to work along with it. We are going to build it from scratch, but if you do need to stop and check anything against the original, then that should be in the link just below. Any feedback, questions, just fire me a message. And yeah, enjoy, have a play. This is definitely one where the more time you spend doing it, the better and easier it's going to become for you. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. This is the end product, what we're looking for, and it is a fully automated wellness sheet. Oh, I've gone too far. Where you can select the start and end date of information, so you can have your whole season, or you could literally just have 1 week. Okay, so different athletes, different weeks, all their different stats, lifestyle factors, and some soreness ratings. So go ahead and open a blank sheet. The first thing I like to do is sort of get an idea of what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm looking to create, because that's going to allow me to understand how I want to navigate this sheet. So I always start with 3 tabs down here at the bottom. I'm going to call this one dashboard. You can right click and rename if you want. Workings. And last but not least, you can double click. I'm just going to put lists. We will be adding another tab for the results or the answers from the questionnaire, the Google form that we're going to attach to this sheet, but that will all be done automatically, and it's done from within this sheet. So we're simply going to go Tools, Create Form, and Google will create a brand new form for you that we saved in whatever location your original spreadsheet is. You can see it's already got the title exactly the same as what I've named that sheet, and this is where we're going to add our questions. For the time being, we're going to leave this here and head back to our sheet. So you can see here we've got a 4th tab, form responses. Not really much information here, but as we update and adjust that Google form, this will automatically start to show some more results. I'm going to click and drag that to the end just because I want it out the way of any time I'm trying to get to the front of my sheet and my dashboard. So let's start to put some information. The first thing I'm going to want to know is who's going to use this? Who's going to use the form? So I'm going to put list, names. This is where you can type in the names of all your athletes. I'm going to keep it anonymous for the time being, but you can type in however many you want. Now, we're going to create a named range from this so that we can take it elsewhere in the spreadsheet without having to type them out every single time. If you know the exact number of athletes, all you need to do is click and highlight their names. If you think you might add some or take some away, you can select the whole column, and we're going to go Data, Named Range. We're going to title it List Names, and it's getting the information from that whole column. Now, I don't want that first cell because it's got the title in, so I'm simply going to go Start Reading from A2. Click Done, and that's our first named range. Secondly, I'm going to add another list, and call this one Weeks. Now, this is where I'm going to put down the week commencing, the date that the week commences for the entire time that I'm working with my athletes. So I know I'm actually going to start with them on the 1st of August. However, before I do that, I need to check down here in File, Spreadsheet Settings, that I'm in the right location and time zone, or the locale. So this is how you format and function your dates. So the moment it's set to the United States, so that would put the month, then the day, then the year, which can get a bit jumbled when you're putting in dates by hand. So I'm going to go United Kingdom, I'm in Bangkok. So I want my time zone to be Bangkok, but I want the currency, the dates to be formatted for the UK. Save and reload. Quick little reboot. But now I know that everything I do is going to be in UK format. So I could put 1st of the 8th, 2021. Now, it won't necessarily look like a date. So what I'm going to do here is select the whole column, go to this little box. This is how you change what Google is reading the cell as. So for that whole column, I want to read it as a date. And you'll see it updates into a more recognizable format. Rather than typing them all by hand, I'm simply going to go equals, select the first date, plus 7, and this will move on a week in advance. Now, I can either copy that formula down, the +7, and have it keep adding to the previous cell, or I can simply click the blue square in the bottom right corner and drag it down. I'm going to the end of the year, so I don't need this last sheet, or this last cell, sorry. Same as before, turn it into a named range, list weeks. I want to start from C2 and press done. Third one we're going to put in this sheet, you don't actually need to create a named range from, but it's all the areas you're going to track for soreness. I'll put list, areas or muscles or whatever you want to do. I can start typing out. So here we have my main information. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is just head to the dashboard and start to put in some layout options. So what I want to do first of all in this first cell, this is where we're going to select our athlete. So we're going to go data, data validation, and this pop-out's going to arrive. Now all this is asking me is, what information does Google want me to read? So I want to create a list from a range, and that range is list names. I want to show this drop down in a cell, so a drop down menu is what I want to appear. And I'm going to put reject input, because that simply means if I write in someone's name or try and put some other information in there, it won't let me. Press save, and you'll see I now have a nice drop down menu with all my athletes. If I add something to that in my list sheet, then it will now pop up here. I'm just going to put select athlete, and now I'm going to do the same with the weeks, but I'm going to create 2. So data, data validation, list weeks, and then I'm going to do the same again in G, list weeks. The reason I've put 2 is because I want this to be select start date and select end date. So now I can select where I want to start the information and where I want to finish it. All I'm going to do now is pop into workings. And so I don't have to keep flicking around between the different tabs, I'm just going to pull that information into this sheet or this tab so that it's easy to access when I'm doing my workings. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and type equals, jump over to the dashboard, and I want to select that first cell. Now, the annoying thing with Google is, as you can see here, sometimes everything gets in the way. So what I can do is click back on workings, and I know that I actually want it to equal cell A1. Press enter, and it's going to pop up correctly. Equals again, do the same for that start date, and for that end date. Now, whatever I change this to, it's going to update in my working sheet. Nice and simple. Our next step is to actually build our form. So we're going to head over to our form builder. The first thing we need to do is get the athlete, select their name. Select your name. We want this to be a drop-down menu. Now, rather than typing them all out, because Google loves to talk to itself, I can go and copy this list of names. Or get rid of that one. I can go and copy this list of names. Click on that first option and Control V or Command V if you're on Mac, or right click and paste, and it will put them all in for me. Nice and simple. I'm going to put that as a required question as well, so the athlete has to select it. Next step, click this plus, and you're going to create a new question. So I'm simply going to put, how is your mood? Rather than writing out different choices, this is already recognized that I might want a linear scale for this, which is perfect. We're going to use a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being bad and 1 being good. So I'm going to put first option, very poor. Top option, very good. Now I can just make that required, and if I go duplicate, it leaves all the same options. So I want you to go ahead and just create your spreadsheet, and remember, we're looking for mood, sleep, motivation, soreness, and stress. Mood, sleep, motivation, we're also going to add a new question here. For which areas are particularly sore? And we're going to want this to be a checkbox. And again, we can go to that list, and this is where this area of our list sheet comes into play. I'm going to copy those and paste them in. It doesn't have to be a required answer because they may not have any areas. And last but not least, I'm going to add one last question and make it a long answer, paragraph answer. Just put anything to add. Okay, so here is your sheet. If you want to see what that looks like, click on the eye up here, and it's going to put it to yourself. What I can do now is see that this form is updated to have all of our answers in. The good thing about this preview as well is that I can see that it actually works. So I'm going to go athlete 1, just collect some data. And if I press submit, a couple of things happen. This is the screen your athlete will see. We can close that. I now have a responses sheet up here, which gives you what Google think you might want to look at. But also, if I head back, you will see that we're now updated with everything that they've put in their answer. And we also have this timestamp. What I'm going to do on this timestamp is select the whole column, go to this format, and just put the date, because I only want to see that date. So that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is on the downloadable version of this, there'll be a whole load of data already input. So go ahead now and just head over to the downloadable sheet and copy and paste that data. If you wish, it'll just make visualizing everything a little bit easier, and you can check that what you get on your front screen is the same to what I get on my front screen. So your form responses should now look pretty much the same, it should look exactly the same as we have here. We now need to start deciphering this information. So this, we're going to head to our workings sheet. So we're going to go ahead and use the filter function here. It's one of my favorite on Google Sheets, and one that, depending on which variation of Excel you have, you might not be able to use. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I prefer Google in some respects. First thing we're going to do is we need to pull certain information into here that matches our 3 selections from that dashboard. Information that we need to pull is going to be everything along here. So I'm going to copy these titles and just paste them into here. If we write equals filter. Okay, if you ever want more information or a bit of help, click the question mark and you'll see this pop-out arrives. Now this is really, really good when you're learning because it's going to tell you exactly what you're looking for or exactly what information you need to put in what order. So the first thing I ask for is the range. Where do we want to get this information? So we want to, with leaving that open, head over to the form responses and we want to select columns A to H. That's where all of our information is. By selecting the whole column, when we add new responses, it will automatically read them. Comma, going back to our list. So that's where we're looking. The next bit of information we're searching for is what condition or what parameters of a search are we looking for? So first off, I want to make sure that everything in column B is equal to what is here. So that's saying within this form, show me anything where column B, i.e. the name, is equal to what we have here. I also want where column A is more than or equal to our first date. I also want to make sure that column A is less than this second date. So what we're asking here is from this whole section, show me information where the athlete matches here and the date is between these two. It's important that I put more than or equal to the first date because it's the Monday, but only less than the second date because that's the following Monday. Press equals, and what you'll see is all your information pop up here. Okay, so they've only put in one bit of information. If I extend that end date, go back to workings, you'll see it's pulled in all the information for athlete 8. We'll just shorten that down a bit, just so it gives us a manageable amount. So that's how you use your filter to show what information you want to put on that front dashboard. So you've got all the information regarding how stressed they are and what their mood is, but we also now need to find out how many times within that period do any areas of soreness flag up. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste this list in again, pop it over here, and we're going to use a count if function. Now this gets a little bit fiddly because we do have to type things in by hand, but we're going to go equals count if. What we're looking for, the range we're looking for is this entire column, because remember the list could be 19 weeks long, it could be 1 week long. So we might as well just select the whole column, comma. Then what criteria? Well, I want to count how many times a cell contains the word head. So what I'm going to do is put quotation marks, the criteria, I'm going to put quotation marks. Okay, and if I write head, close quotation marks, this should be fine. Okay, it's not returning anything because there are no heads. Okay, but if I type in here head, comma, quads, it still won't come up because at the moment this cell is looking for anything in this column where it only says head. So what I need to do, double click to go back into that formula or simply head up here. If I put a star either side of the word head, it is going to look for anywhere in that section that has the word head somewhere within it. Press enter, still none, that's absolutely fine. We're going to repeat that process. Count if, L, contains, star, neck, star, quotations, bracket. No. Go ahead and fill that in for all of them, and you should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Okay, so we can check upper back 3 times. So we've got 1, 2, and I'm guessing somewhere in here
There's going to be an upper back. Sorry, yeah, 3 times. So we know it's working correctly.